It's time for the August 2019 BKXC podcast here on Patreon. Because of your guys' support, I love doing these things, and my only measure of my success is the number of comments that I get. And the number of questions and comments on this thread for this podcast were off the charts. This is like the most ever. I'm feeling the love. And then tons of comments on BC Bike Race Part 1, Day 1. You guys will probably get worn out by Day 7, but I'm feeling the love. I'm loving doing this, and that's my goal, is to get you guys fired up about something. I know, I just do my best. It's been a rough couple weeks. You guys will see a little tribute video I did for my Uncle Dennis coming up after the BC Bike Race. So I'm not going to get fully into it. The tribute video will do a really good job of honoring his memory. So before the BC Bike Race started, my grandfather died, and he's older, not getting along so good. Still pretty bad. Sucked pretty bad. So then, boom, going to the BC Bike Race. And my uncle had been sick for a few years, but, right after the BC Bike Race, he took a turn and actually passed away. So just bookended this really awesome experience with some pretty rough stuff. So you guys will hear all about my Uncle Dennis and how amazing the guy was and how he inspired me to mountain bike and start the channel and all that great stuff. But I'm gonna keep moving here before I start crying. So so BC Bike Race, amazing. And what we've only got part 1 and part 2 out so far. By the time this is being shown to you guys, I'm recording it on the 29th, and I've got a couple things going, which I'll talk about later on here. But it was great. It was so cool. And my feelings and everything will come out as the BC Bike Race goes on. I hate to spoil it for anybody, but I know you guys some of you guys watched, Paul Punter's videos or Sid Mackey's videos. But I really think that my version is going to be the best. It's my style. I always like my style of just fully capturing and just getting everything. But if you did happen to watch Sid Mackey's or Paul the Punters, you kind of already know what happens, and the drama's kind of leaked out. So it is what it is. I think we've got a question about that later, which I'll address the timing of everything. But so many good questions this week. So yeah, it's fantastic, and I just don't want to give too much away or spoil anything, even though it's kind of So maybe there's some questions, but a really great experience. I will say this, and I said it over and over: there is not a better quality and quantity of trails that I just don't think you could come up with 7 days, even 8 days. That day 0 trail was pretty sweet, actually, the little prologue. I don't think there's anywhere in the world where you could do this, like stage race, XC style, where it's a step above XC for sure, which is great. And anything a step lower would be kind of crappy, I think. So it was the best. It's definitely a badass bucket list thing to do, and I'm glad I did it. I'm really, really glad I did it, for sure. New merch. You guys are really showing the love by buying hats and shirts and tumblers and all that stuff. I'm stoked about the new merch. This is a huge outlay of cash for me because I'm buying everything at once and then storing it in a warehouse in North Carolina. And actually, if you happen to follow this guy named Steve, Gamers Nexus, he's one of the kind of overclocking computer gaming YouTubers. I got introduced to him, or I emailed him out of the blue because I saw that he was a mountain biker, and he had this product called the mod mat. So when you're modding your PC, you can lay out all the parts and look at it. I'm like, dude, this is so cool. How did you come up with this product? Like, what's the deal here? And we just went back and forth, and he's like, yeah, actually a guy I went to high school with, helped me manufacture this product. He knows people in Asia to manufacture, in the United States, anywhere you need something manufactured, and he's running a fulfillment service. And I was like, oh man, I think it might be time. It might be time to actually switch over my stuff from Teespring and kind of, I just have stuff all over the place, right? Like, my merch is very dispersed, and I've always wanted to do a hat. My dad has always wanted a hat. I've always wanted a hat. So basically the idea is I've got a guy now. It's called Square Shark is the name of the business, and I bought a shitload of stuff, and I've got it stocked in the warehouse, and people are getting their stuff within 3 days and stoked on it, and it's just been really, really cool. New Pain and Pleasure shirt. You guys have seen all this stuff, I'm sure, but I'm really, really stoked about this. It's, like I said, it's a huge outlay of cash, though. It's like thousands and thousands and thousands of tens of thousands of dollars like up front. And you know, because I have a pretty good idea of how many shirts I could sell, and this means I'll just have them forever until they sell out, kind of thing. So if something doesn't quite move, whatever, I'll hold on to it. It's no big deal. If something does sell out, I can reprint it and kind of go back to the well. And on that note, gloves, jerseys, socks are coming. And once again, I bought all this inventory. I had it made by Hand Up Gloves, and they did a friggin' sweet job as always. And that's coming. I'm holding it back because I just feel like I don't want to hit people up. Okay, here's this $25 item. Here's this $38 item. Here's this. Like, I need to kind of... Uh-oh, my mic freaking died. All right, I'm back with the headphones on. The mic didn't die, but my levels, you know, I've got the levels here. I'm checking on everything, making sure everything sounds good and looks good. On and on. We're moving on. So, yeah. So basically, I just feel like I need to wait 3 weeks, maybe a month before I hit you guys back up with, hey, buy some more BKXC stuff. Even though I know most of you are like, I need gloves now. I need a jersey now. Like, but I don't want to keep hitting people up. In a perfect world, I'd have one new item a month or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool. But since this is the beginning, the rollout, I'm kind of like, blah, here's a bunch of stuff. So along the lines of this fulfillment thing, I also simplified my Patreon tiers. I've just got a $3 level and a $1 level. There's so many moving parts to this, and you guys are always welcome to support at whatever level of price you want to put on this and how much you get out of it. But I just felt like it was time. It was time to kill the $25, kill the $10 level. A lot of it was just being at home, having to be at home to fulfill merchandise, to figure out how to send the sticker packs, to get everything, all the moving parts that were involved with actually sending out a physical thing. And keeping it digital and scalable is very nice. It's very good that it's like, boom, it's just $3, $1. Anybody could put in whatever amount they want to support the channel. But when it comes down to it, I think the $3 a month it's a perfect, easy thing. It's easy on my conscience. I've had in the past, I had the $100 level, I had the $50 level, and I got rid of those too. And it just feels right. It just feels good. I can't really put my finger on it. Maybe it's my personal trying to put a dollar value on what I'm worth and what I'm doing is worth, and maybe just my own mental, like, it's $10 a month. That's so much. I can't justify charging people that. So there's a whole psychology behind all that. It is what it is. It's done. The Band-Aid has been ripped off. I'm expecting August to be just really low Patreon income, but I'm gonna bridge the gap with my merch stuff, and that's gonna be fine. Just, you got to have a little adversity. You got to put yourself through a little bit of a struggle here, and it'll just make me sleep better at night, I think. And I know you guys care. I know you can do any number you want to support. It's always been an option in there, and it humbles me so much. But it's just it's tough. It's a tough one. I had the $100 tier, I had the $50 tier, and that weighed on me way too much. And then it's just a nice clean $3 a month. It just feels right. So why not, if I'm stressed out about money, why not go and buy a van? How about that? Let's do that. And so I'm going to this will be the next video, hopefully, after the Uncle Dennis video in a couple weeks. And I don't want to spoil too much about the whole van idea and all this stuff. There's so much good stuff and like my thought process and all that. And I think there's a question from Wade about the van, and because I had posted on Instagram, like looking at that Trail Forks map. The long and short of it is that I'm never going to be able to get to all the places I want to get to in North America, at least, unless I have the freedom of movement and having the van. There's, my style of travel is, show up in the RAV4, driving across country, maybe, but more likely flying into somewhere, staying for a week, and then hucking it back out. So if the weather's bad, this is the dates I'm going to be here. I'm here for this time, and then that's it. I'm going back home. I got other stuff to do. So the goal of the van is freedom. It's freedom of movement, freedom to, I'm going to go check this place out. There's many places that I want to go, but to be honest, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, they're only worth, riding wise, like one day. There's only one great day of riding in a lot of places. And that's great. It's still a great one day of riding. And I don't want to discount that, but I want to get there. And it's not something, okay, I'm going to fly into this place, wait, stay for a couple days and then fly back. So the wheels are moving on the van. Things are coming together, and you guys, yeah, I'll post something about it probably pretty soon. There's always been hiccups, and yeah, I don't want to do the whole talk down of what'll be in the video, but it's gonna be fun. I think it'll be pretty damn cool. It's time to jump into the questions and comments. I welcome both. Phoenix Matt with the top spot, the first one in on this mega thread here. What has been the most surprising thing about your channel since its inception? I will tell you what, I looked at my calendar from last year, and before I went to Tibet, I was putting out 3 videos a week up until that point. And then I went to Tibet, and I'm like, I got to stretch them out. I got to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The views were doing really crappy on Friday for as long as I had videos up. I mean, it was probably more the content than the video. So I was like, okay, if I go Monday, Wednesday, I feel like I could survive. And it's been a huge mental, life boost, and being able to go for a ride and not have to film it. And so I'm very surprised that I was able to do 3 videos a week for so long. And I can do it again. I could do it again. Part of me wants to do it again, but I think there's a question later on about timing, and I'll go into timing and all this stuff later. But it's a huge part of it, and yeah, I'll get into that later. Oh, there it is. The next question. It's totally related to timing and what I was going to talk about. Alan Hartfield, after watching the BC bike race videos with Sid Mackey, Paul, and yourself, it would have been good if you were able to synchronize the release of the videos. Is that something you would think about doing? Yes and no. So basically, we're all on our own little treadmill. And if you want to succeed at YouTube, you have to be very consistent, and you always want to be putting out videos at your normal time. And so I'm guessing that Sid Mackey and Paul didn't have anything else going on. They were like, oh, it's BC Bike Race. It's coming. It's now. Me, I had a lot of stuff in the can so I could bridge the gap of BC Bike Race. So I could die right now, and my Patreon stuff and my YouTube stuff would go on without me for quite a while. And I like that. That is the luxury that I have built up for myself, that my uncle could die and I could take a week off and do nothing but feel sad and maybe go for a couple rides, versus a lot of these guys are right up against it every single day. I have to laugh at Seth's Instagram stories because it's always like, hey guys, at least recently, I'm trying to get a video out, right? It's like none of us want to be in that position where, your back's up against the wall week in and week out. It makes you good though. It makes you're on your toes and you don't get friggin' fat and lazy. But I've got my schedule. It's 2 a week. It's going to be that way for a while. And it's a nice gap where I can have a life. And I think it's great. It sucks that that stuff got spoiled, and it is what it is. But my quality of videos is going to be the best. I promise you, my videos are going to be riveting from end to end. I was filming the entire time, kind of, sort of, it's not the entire time, but I was ready to film the entire time. There was only maybe an hour and a half out of those 8 days where the camera wasn't on me, and the battery was dead. The second day was so rainy and wet that I just did the big first climb and then I put the camera on. So I love my style. I love what I do. I think you guys love it too. I agree. It would be so cool if everything could kind of come out at the same time. But I think, my sauce, my secret sauce, whatever it is, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the wait. It kind of sucks to make you guys wait though. I feel ya. Tim asks, now that I've kicked off my BKXC apparel, is there going to be brand ambassadors and sponsorship deals available? Yes, I will pay top dollar for anyone who wants to wear the BKXC things. I'm looking mainly at forehead tattoos. That's kind of my main influencer thing that I'm looking for. So if you have at least 180,000 Instagram followers and you're putting out at least 7 stories a day and you're willing to get a forehead tattoo, I will pay you $250 a month, and I'll try to get the guys at Hand Up Gloves to send you a new pair of gloves and a new pair of socks. Maybe gloves 1 month, socks 1 month, gloves 1 month, socks 1 month for 6 months. Moving on. Adam Parker wants to know if I could go back in time and give myself a top tip on starting up my channel. What would it be? Dude, I cannot believe this. I thought about this. I paused the recording and I thought about this, and I can't think of anything. It just all fell into place. I had so many things that I thought about and made work, and I I made all kinds of little mistakes, but if I went back and said, don't do this, you never know what actually would have happened and how things would have changed. It's like, oh, yeah, don't do bike reviews. You don't know what you're talking about, so you shouldn't even do bike reviews. Then nobody finds the channel, and so many people found the channel at the beginning because it's just great searchable terms when nobody was doing videos like that. And, don't ride with your thumbs over your bars. And then it's like, then you're just like everybody else. It's like, who's this weird guy riding with his thumbs over the bars? So there's just... I couldn't even tell myself to work harder. There's nothing that I can really think of. There's, man, just do it. Just do it. And that's what I did. And I just kept doing it, and I saw it and made it happen. It's crazy to think that I can't think of something. There's got to be something. Did I waste my money on something? The drone was like it was still fun. I still think the drone was cool. Like, I only use it a little bit. It's not something you would actually, yeah. I feel good about what I did. Greg Keeler wants to know what my favorite credit card to use during travel is. I use Chase Sapphire, I guess. They all seem about the same to me, like the 2% kind of rewards, and then I funnel all the rewards into Amazon gift cards, and it seems to work pretty good. Redrick Ashwood wants to know what he should name his bike repair shop. You have the Nugatorium. I need a memorable name. Oh man, nicknames are not my forte. I rely on my community to come up with all the great names, and we did a damn good job on so many different things. Red's Bike Shop, Red's Bike Hut, Redness, Redrick, Red. Josh Labrie wants to know what artists' albums are on the BKXC Desert Island playlist. I'm gonna say the Beatles' White Album. I listened to that recently. It's pretty good. Holds the test of time very well, and there's just a ton of songs. Third Eye Blind, the whole damn thing. The Red Album, the Blue Album, the Green Album. Those are all so good. I have quite the eclectic music taste. There's all kinds of things that I like, and it's hard to narrow it down. Matt Plank wants to know if there's a good place to learn from someone who knows how to teach better skills. I live in Missouri, close to Northwest Arkansas, and been there a couple times, but don't have any connection to actual instruction. Yeah, man, just Google mountain bike coach, like Fayetteville, or mountain bike coach Bentonville. There are a few. There's a guy named Dustin Slaughter, and he does coaching. He does I think it's called like Slaughter Pen Trail Guide, and a lot of the pros, a lot of the shuttle driver guys, like they'll take you out. They could love $100 on the side, like out of pocket. But Dustin's service might be a little more expensive than that, but it's well worth the money. Like just getting one-on-one time with a coach and just seeing, what's wrong and being open to feeling what's wrong and trying to get better. It's huge. Yeah. Try to find a coach. Mr. Tonka, having completed BC bike race, what would you do differently if you were to do it again? Training would be probably a good thing to do if I was going to do it again. Training would be nice. Actually, having like a van would be so sweet, but I think you have to have a driver. I don't think you can drive yourself from point to point. I heard someone say that, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. But the first night, I looked over and I'm like, oh, all those people have their vans and their RVs. Oh, that's so cool. That would be really, really cool way to do it. Mark Russell asks, orange seal over stands. Is it just personal preference, or have you done any research? No, it's just it's just, it is what it is. It's what I have laying around. I see no benefit over either, and you just get mad when you blow a tire, no matter which one it is. I just have to laugh. There's definitely people out there, I don't know if people are just talking out their ass for days, and they believe it, or if they really know what they're talking. I can't say who it is, but there's just a guy that is just so meticulous, and it's like, really, you really orange seal. I don't know, man. I don't know. Just go ride. But your question is a good question. We all make these choices, and I love and I hate that they're all so arbitrary. It's like, oh, it's a seal. It looks kind of cool. It's not stands. It's orange. That's really the difference. Stephen Fitzgerald wants to know my opinions on good and bad bike carriers for cars. Yeah, man. One Up USA is pretty much the ultimate bike rack. It's a weird company. It's expensive as hell. It's made in the USA, but it's so easy to get on and get off. Like that time you waste with the stupid things that click over and pull down and all that other garbage. One Up USA, and check it out. It's just a very, very, very good rack. It's expensive, but I wouldn't do anything else. I think I laugh so hard when I see other people's weird bike racks, like those ones in the Czech Republic and the ones that are only allowed in Europe kind of thing. Oh. Junior wants to know how I feel about adding electric assist to a regular mountain bike. I don't know what that looks like. That's the only thing I can think about, is that it would look weird. They're like some weird box or something. Yeah, I feel like in South Africa, when I was at Contemans Kloof, I think, we saw a guy with like a weird like add-on thing where there was a wire that went up to his handlebars, and the looks are just the weird thing. Like all the e-bikes now, they're starting to look really, really good. And when you got these weird wires hanging off and you got a battery and all that stuff, it just seems a little weird. But, you know, it is what life is about, what you think about, and not what other people think about. Like there's such a there's this weird fine line where, yeah, you have to kind of play by most of society's rules and you want to blend in. But we all have a lot of leeway on what we can do and how we feel about what other people feel and how that stops us from doing things. So if you're into it, dude, throw on the electric assist and own it. Charles Kim wants to know if I've gotten any advice from like really good riders that I was told early on in my MTB career that ended up being junk or wrong. No, I've really not gotten much advice from different people. I don't, you ask for advice here and there and you kind of, you listen and you're like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But I can't think of anything that was like, oh man, what the hell was that guy talking about? Bill Swartzwelder says, it's cool to see you and your dad doing stuff together. Have you always had a great relationship? We've always had a pretty good relationship with all kinds of projects all throughout my childhood. And they're always about the same. He's mellowed out a lot nowadays, but just a lot of cussing, a lot of like trying to like force something in and being like, oh, okay, Dad, hold on for a second. What if we tried this? So yeah, it's been great. We're very family oriented and always have been. And it's precious. It's very precious to get to spend the time with him, and I never take it for granted. Wade Robbins says, I hear you're in the market for a van. What kind are you eyeing and build out? So basically the sampler van, the same thing. Just all the specs are the same, and that's as far as I'm going to go. It's as far as I'm going to go. I don't want to overwrite anything else I'm going to do. I'm just copying sampler. Basically, that's what I'm going for. I'm like already thinking about the first video and everything and how it's going to be so similar. Like, okay, I got to make fun of this. Ryan L. Marseilles says that there's a YouTube summer camp for kids. Would you be interested in doing something like that and maybe teaming up with your two other Musketeers to give back to the YouTube community, in person or virtual? Oh, it's interesting. I don't have time to open up the link right now and read the article. Dang. But yeah, I'm all about that stuff. Like coming to speak for a day or, showing up, recording a video. Like I love doing that stuff because, you have an audience of 1,000 people and one person will actually listen to you, and that one person will make a difference. Arvid Richter says, hey Brian, earlier you thought about moving to some other place in the world. Why not moving around bike season by bike season, really getting to know each region? Maybe a good idea before you will end up some random place where love will take you to. Yeah, and man, that South America learning Spanish idea, it's already starting to float away a little bit as I think about the van thing. And sometimes you get these ideas and I still really like the idea. And is it going to work? Am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to do that? Going away for months and months at a time. Like I'd need to go away for like at least 4 months. 3 months I think would still be too short. 4 months is a lot. There's so many logistical things. So now I still don't like moving around, but with the van, that's kind of the idea, is that you have this freedom of movement. You can be embedded in places longer and tell better stories, make better videos. That is the goal. One-eyed MT Beer. Are you going to do BC Bike Race next year? Nope. And was there other options than tents? Yes, you could stay at the hotels. There was a group of people that stayed at a hotel, and it seemed logistically weird, but everything at the BC Bike Race is logistically weird, as you will see. And so it's like you would like arrive and you have to take a shuttle, and like I think doing a hotel would be pretty sweet, actually. that's I think that's what I would do if I did it again, but I'm not going to do it again. Nathan Hill wants to know what my pre and post ride bike maintenance routines are. I should have a pre and post ride maintenance routine. If I was going to give advice for someone to have a pre or post ride routine, is that after a ride, you just like wipe down your bike as much as you can so you can kind of see what's going on and just, think about anything you may have felt, pull on the rear tire left and right wise, like not the way it rolls, but the side to side thing, and just kind of look over your bike and really, think what you're doing. And then, have some kind of routine, like once a week kind of thing to like put a wrench on it and just make sure all the bolts are tight. Nath Fertz wants to know if I had any issues making wrong turns during the BC Bike Race, or was that just Paul? No, there was definitely some really tough stuff. That one in his latest video where he just zooms, you can see there's pink ribbons on the right, but the trail is going so much in the other direction. Like I definitely had to slam on the brakes and kind of awkwardly come down that same thing, like a stump, and that Squamish day was actually pretty terribly marked. I mentioned it in the video where I got scared several times where I'm like, am I still on the course? Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know where I'm at. I don't see a ribbon, when most of the other days it was just ribbon. You're standing here, you can still see a ribbon out, but Squamish was garbage, and it's intense. You're in the zone. You're in, there was one of them, I forget which day, all the days blend together, but I think it was day 5 where I heard a ton of people continued up like a fire road, where it was pretty clear to me that it was like, oh, it was a shoot off to the slight right where there was pink ribbons and stuff. But like one person goes up because your head's down, you're just in climbing mode, your head's down. And then there was a few times where I just happened to glance up when, you're just looking down, you're taking a drink, whatever. And I happened to glance up and like, oh crap, there's a turnoff here, where I could have just totally kept climbing and be like, what the hell? Omar Figueroa wants to know if I've been to North Star. Yes, I've been to North Star. I did not make a video about it. I was very underwhelmed with North Star, which sucks because it's the bike park that's close to us. I think some of the trails were closed because it was earlier in the season when I went, but I've never been so disappointed or underwhelmed by something that's like local like that. And it kind of makes sense. No one ever talks about it. Everyone talks about Downeyville and Lake Tahoe, and there's just so many things that come up. Like North Star, it just doesn't come up, and it just kind of sucked. There was one cool trail that was pretty badass, but it's like you're still paying God knows what to go and get your bike beat up because it's a downhill park, so it's going to be rough and all that. But I would like to go back. I'd love to give it a second try and see some of the other trails that are around and take it back, because they're having an EWS out there, kind of sorta, right, like a qualifier thing, so it's got to be good if there's an EWS there. Bill Trickle wants to know if I'm ever going to show the infamous broken bike clip. Yes, I will. I've been asked this many times, and every time my answer is I'm not going to show it until I ride with Jeff Lenoski and actually talk about it, and I hope I still have it. I kind of delete all my shit, so I might have it, I might not have it. I know it was February, March 2017 or something like that. I know a couple guys that I hang out with that were on the ride that probably have even better clips than I do. But yeah, it'll come out eventually, and I think it all makes for a good story. Sam Ashton wants to know, from all the bikes I've ridden, what would I stick to if I could only ever ride one? I.e. suspension, gearbox, gears, all that stuff. I think SRAM Eagle right now for me is the best of the best. That's the only thing that I really care about enough, and I'm sure the XTR stuff is fine. But when it comes to brakes or suspension or anything else, meh. Even grips now, I've kind of moved on and trying different things, and I just as long as it's at a certain level, as long as it's an XT, X01, or even GX now build, nothing blows me away, nothing's crazy, nothing's amazing, handlebar, it's just all very, very similar to me now. And it's very interesting that there's just nothing has stepped up. I really would love to check out the Axis stuff, the wireless shifting, because that seems like a really leap ahead. And I think my buddy Blaine got it, and I think he broke it pretty quickly. Ripped off the old derailleur, put a new battery in, see if it works. Ian wants to know if the BC bike race changed my thoughts on nutrition. Do you think you'll look at better options in the future? I've never seen you take any salt tabs, etc. An event like this seems like a great opportunity to bring in a nutritional sponsor / coach. No, I felt like really, really good. The first day, I didn't drink enough. I didn't eat enough. And it's like you learn from that mistake pretty quickly because you don't know. It's like, how much should I eat? How much should I drink? And you learn by the second day, you eat and drink as much as humanly possible. And then I was fine. I never had another cramp. I never had any problems. I was strong as hell. So, yeah, that I felt good. Michael Masinko wants to know what steps I take to acclimate to higher altitudes. Just drinking a lot of water and sleeping. That's it. It's rough going to 9,000 feet. Like you said, you went to 9,000 feet in a matter of hours, and yeah, it messes you up. And it just, there's certain times where your body's kind of off already, and then boom, that just exemplifies anything. Like it's like having alcohol on an empty stomach, right? Like maybe your body was kind of already a little damaged and trying to recover, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, we can't breathe for anything, and it's brutal. 9,400 feet is ridiculous. Like even like 8,000, I think Crested Butte's 8,800 or something, and going upstairs and stuff is really, really tough. But 9,400, that's a whole nother level. Like you're talking a whole nother ratchet up, and so it's very, very high. It's no joke at all. So I guess there's some kind of weird rule of thumb where it's like if you're doing a race, you either need to show up a week ahead of time or just do the race that day. But I'm no a doctor on that. Feldy Bikes wants to know if I was going to ship my bike ahead of time to my destination, would I use my Evoc bag or just get a box from a shop? I would definitely use my Evoc bag because there's just a place for everything. You know, everything's secure. The wheels are secure. The bike is all tied down. The bike box is like, I don't know how these people do it when they ship it. It's like, what's a good example? It's like putting toothpaste back in the tube. Like people are able to somehow who work at the bike manufacturers and put everything in there perfectly. But anytime I've put a bike back in a bike box, I'm like, oh god, I don't know if this is gonna friggin' make it. Yikes. So the Evoc bag is I would 100% use the Evoc bag versus a random box from a bike shop. Justin says, you seem fully focused and always able to keep moving, but do you ever get self-doubt days or this is too much moments? If you do, are there any strategies you rely on to get back on track? It's a good question. And strange as it is to say, I don't, because this thing has to keep going. There's no room for me to be like, oh, it's, I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. I need to get videos out Monday, Wednesday, and that's all there is to it. Like, it's a fact. It's not something I can be like, well, maybe I'll do one. Like that's what kept me doing 3 videos a week. There wasn't an option. And then I gave myself the option to do 2 videos a week, and I was like, oh, okay. But once you start, ratcheting that, I'll do one video a week. I can't. I need the income. I need everything to keep going. It's written in stone that this thing keeps moving, and the wheels keep spinning. And but yeah, of course I have bad days and sad days and stuff like that, but I've said, people ask this kind of question over and over in different ways, but once you get on the bike and once I start recording a video, it's like, oh man, this is cool. Like there's stuff that happens and you get up and you rise to the occasion. And it's very, 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 very few times where I'm recording a video. I'm like, is this even going anywhere? Is this anything going to happen? And then inevitably something does. And it's like, oh man, this is so much fun. So when work is your therapy, it's kind of nice. Ingo Hess wants to know if my house in the Nugatorium caught fire and you could run inside and save one item, what would it be? He says, I put my money on your hard drive and the video footage. So if I had not edited all the videos, so like right now, I'm at a very rare place where all my videos are edited that I've shot. So my Uncle Dennis tribute, all my BC bike race videos are shot and edited, and they're uploaded. There's nothing on the hard drive that I care about, so it can all burn. It can go for for all I care, because yeah, it's all on YouTube, so it'll be out there. Like prized possession wise, it's man, it's a tough question actually. I do like things, but I don't know if I have like the one thing. Like, what do I think of? Boom. When your house is burning, what do you think of? I guess like my birth certificate. I've got like a little folio with a bunch of like, my social security card, my birth certificate. It'd be good to save my passport, because that would be a real pain in the ass. Yeah, I guess the passport. I guess I'd save the passport. It's funny though, because when you think about, if you had 2 minutes, if you really think how long 2 minutes is, you could get a lot done in 2 minutes. Like, you could really like, boom, I gotta grab all this like keepsake. Like, I have a box full of like old cards and keepsakes and like love letters and stuff like that. It's fun stuff. But the more I grow older, the less I want to like reflect and be nostalgic, and the more I want to keep looking forward and just keep living my life and not look back, because I am one that likes to look back and get wallowed in that, and instead of like moving forward and being like, okay, what's ahead, I gotta find a damn girlfriend. I can't be wallowing and looking back. Tim Cat wants to know, have I ever been out riding with someone who was so over the top, so unfiltered, that you couldn't use what they said or did in a video? No, I haven't. That's pretty funny, because I think Alex kind of comes off like that sometimes, like, what? This guy's freaking wild. He's yelling, he's screaming. This is insane. Like, he's probably like the number one example that comes to mind. Like, nobody has so much fun on a bike. Like, I can't think of anybody that was like, oh yeah, motherfucker, like or doing stuff that would, like littering and like jumping like the trail and going off course or something. Oh, that's classic. Adam West wants to know, do I think I would have done better or worse if I was on the Ritmo or the Rayon? You know what? I actually think I would have done worse on the Ritmo or the Rayon, because the climbing, that BMC Agonist is a beast climber. It is so friggin' light. It is amazing. And on the descents, I'm just killing everything. I'm just destroying everything on the descents. 120 mil travel. Just I felt so good on that bike. Like, I really, really like that bike. So, man, yeah, it's of course, like, there's certain times where it's like, oh man, a bigger bike, that'd be sweet. Definitely where I got the flat on stage 1. I bet my thicker tires on any other bike would not have punctured, and that would have saved me 30 minutes there. But no regrets at all. But it is a good thought experiment. The other thought experiment is, what if I didn't have a bag and I had 20 less pounds of camera gear, and I was just, oh man, I really wonder. But I'm not going back to find out. Daniel Schiefer wants to know, do I have a specific stretch and strength training routine you use to keep everything else in shape between rides? I do. I show up to Juke CrossFit in Benicia, and we do a stretch and we do CrossFit, and I let them figure it out. CrossFit is the best for that. You just show up and you just do it, and you set aside that hour of your day, and they put you to work, and it's so awesome. I friggin' have not I got a little damage over here from a crash during the race, which at the time wasn't that bad, and then later on it got worse. So no CrossFit right now. And but yeah, it's the best. You just show up, like any kind of class like that. It's expensive, it sucks, but they have all the equipment. You just show up, you spend an hour. It's your time is the only thing. Your time and your money. It's everything else mentally. You just go in, put it in. I cannot recommend it enough. Whoa. For those of you listening, that was me flexing for the camera. David Bartek wants to know, would you consider doing another stage race if the organizers invited you to make videos from the race? No more XC stage races. I cannot see any other stage race ever being better than BC Bike Race. And if it's less than BC Bike Race, it is a waste of time. I'm sorry to say, there is way too much frustration, agony, suffering for the trails to also be shitty. Like, it is tough to, like, mentally, and just like, it's emotionally draining. You're standing around doing nothing for 2 hours, and you take a ferry and you're in the rain for 2 hours waiting for this to happen. Then you're in tent. Oh, then you got to get your clothes, and then you got to do this. Like, it's a pain in the ass. And I'm sure BC Bike Race has it dialed up like so well, versus the Guatemalan 7-day stage race where it's like, oh crap, oh wait, we didn't have food that day, we did this, oh, okay. So that's a no. You might be getting a theme here that the XC racing career might be over. Chase Rill wants to know, when traveling, which airline / company / class do you fly? I just go with the cheapest. So many people ask me like, "Oh man, you must have crazy like frequent flyer miles," and "Oh, what airline do you use?" And in today's day and age, I don't think you're winning if you're like only doing this air mileage. Like, so United is the hub in San Francisco. So that the most United flights come out of San Francisco, and yeah, mileage plus whatever the hell is United, and I'm signed up for it. But it's like, yeah, okay, so I can do mileage plus, and the flight will be $550 more than this other random airline, or sometimes $1,000 more than this other random airline. I'm taking the other random airline. I'm not going to be loyal to stupid United Airlines because I have the miles and I'm locked in and all that stuff. So I think I know people do it. I know people are religious with their airlines and all that, but I think it's people that do the same route over and over. Oakland to Denver, Oakland to Denver, Oakland to Denver. Like, that's the only way I think it makes sense. For me, I have never seen any reason to do, oh, I only fly Delta, I'm a Delta man. Yeah, Delta's $800 more per flight. Like, why? I'm a Spirit Airlines man, baby. But I did see that a lot of the airlines are all of a sudden like caving with the baggage. American Airlines, Delta, they removed bikes as an extra supercharged fee. So, that's $300 round trip that you'd be saving. But oftentimes these flights are $700, $800 more where I'm going. No front brakes. I know you've been working with some brands like Sun Tour to help support your trips. Without getting into the weeds, how is that working out? I think it worked out great. I think the Czech Republic trip was amazing riding, and the suspension was great, so there was no complaints. They got a shitload of exposure because that Czech Republic trip did amazing views-wise, and everybody was loving it. So I thought it turned out great. And the key, and I get Joey Trek comments every once in a while still, and that was almost one of the things where it was like, if I went back in time, would I tell myself don't do Joey Trek? But it's not about that. It was always about a company, a brand being like, oh yeah, we want to sponsor your channel. We love this stuff, but you can't do this, but you can't do this. Like, all these things that I've done, I'm still cussing in them. I'm still being me. Like, I'm trying to dumb down the cussing in my personal life because I have a niece now, and that whole thing, it's, we don't want her saying fuck every other word. It's not good for a young lady. So I'm trying to slow it down with the cussing in my normal personal life. So that will extend into my YouTube life as well. But I can still be me, and being me is the only thing I care about, and what has brought you guys here, I think, on Patreon. So it's so important. So to have these deals, the IBIS deal it's a 3 video deal. I've only done 1 video, so I'm going to still get 2 videos from IBIS. The BMC deal, super nice for them to lend me the bike and give me financial support. There's the bike back there. And so I am very happy with every deal that I've made, and all the products, and everything's been good. And the people just like, well, we love it. That's great. Like, it's been perfect. It's been really good. And I always still want to pick my spots. I could see myself in 2020 doing a bike sponsor and doing a full on, okay, let's just go full on, because something like that, it would help pay for the van, and it would help these other ideas, and kind of, you pick your spots. And I think I've probably, even I feel like you guys get it, the Patreon community gets it, but even on public YouTube, I think I got 2 negative comments about the Sun Tour thing. And wrapping in, and I'm going to get to a separate question later on, the thing I've also always said is that even if I do a commercial now, that same kind of thing, I'll be doing that same kind of commercial and that integration with my own brand eventually, when I create my own brand someday. And I've talked about that very much. So we're still going to get this same kind of thing. So yeah, if you guys are digging it, I just think it's turned out very well for all involved. I'm happy. Goron Sledemark wants to know, did the power meter help me out in the BC bike race? Only for post data. I didn't actually have the screen up with the power numbers. The only thing I had on my bike computer was time and distance. And if I was actually, paying attention, I know like the pros, and really guys that are really into it, like say, okay, I'm going to try to hit 200 watts and just stick at 200 watts and stuff. I'm sure that would have helped, but I didn't. I just love having the data, man. I just love having the data and just like being able to go back and look and then compare. And yeah, I'm data nerd like that. Luca K wants to know, would I ride the BC bike race on a hardtail? Oh, hell no. But our friend Jose, who is on Patreon, I believe, he might be listening to this podcast, met him at the race. He's been on a Chasing Epic trip previously, 2 Chasing Epic trips previously. He did the BC bike race on a hardtail, and he killed it. He did really good. That dude has lost weight over the past couple years. Like he's a mean machine, and yeah, I got to get up. He's out of Ellensburg, Washington, the Recycle bike shop up there, and he's been wanting to get me out there for a while. I will get out there. When I get the van, I will get out there. Will Desmond wants to know, obviously you appear to be in pretty good shape, brother. What are some staples of your everyday diet that we may not see in your videos? So, funny thing about that, without going full on into my sob story of my various stuff, but I have this weird thing with my throat where I think I have like a weird allergic reaction thing. And, I used to have like 6 eggs in the morning, and then I went down to like 4 eggs in the morning, and now I've cut out eggs in the morning, and I think my throat is getting better because of it, and like allergic reaction stuff. Like, so eggs used to be a huge staple of my diet, but now I'm like maybe a month off of eggs, and I think it's actually helping my throat thing. And it's so weird. So now I have like oatmeal, and it's like, Quaker oatmeal, like the way too much sugar kind of oatmeal in the morning. Yeah, ground beef, steaks, mashed potatoes, rice, chicken breast. Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know. I know everyone thinks I eat like crap, and I don't really have the diet to list out or whatever. But my theory is, I think people drink like crap. You got to be active and not drink. Just drink water. That's it. And then you'll be fine. And I think I've said this before many times, but like listening to your body. Like I've had this throat thing for like 5 years, and now I'm just realizing like, oh, maybe it's eggs. And I was just so unwilling to give up eggs because they're such a good protein source in the morning, and like just get fired up and ready to go. And now, yeah, it might be the eggs. So listening to your body, I think, is almost more important than any kind of diet advice. Hunter Nelson says, so you keep mentioning your own brand over and over. You launched the shop a few weeks ago, but I have to assume your mind wants way more than some baseball caps. What's the long-term BKXC brand goal? Yeah, it's definitely a different, it's more and different than BKXC. I think it has to be outside of BKXC. I don't think it is BKXC, stuff. Even though I do want to make more BKXC stuff, I think there is actually a room to make. I've got a couple random ideas, like the generic cleaner. Like, I think that'd be kind of fun to have a bottle with a sticker and all that stuff. But I'd probably sell 10 of those. But I think the brand, the thing, the company, the eventual thing is something outside of mine. That's outside of the BKXC thing. So, yep, that's all I really got to say about that. Alex wants to know, am I open to accepting BKXC designs for shirts and hats by other people for your store? Man, that's a great question. And it's a 50-50 proposition here, because I have spent hundreds of dollars on designs that I never used because I'm incredibly picky, and you get through the process and you're like, this person can't do shit. Like, I hate this. I'm never going to put this on a t-shirt. And you just buy it and you pay them for your time and you say, thanks. See you later. And it is what it is. So I don't know, man. I'd rather keep this a friendly relationship versus a business relationship, because it's just gonna it's gonna be a lot of saying no, or like, hey, can you do this or that? So I'd rather keep that separate. But I love the idea. That's the thing. If it's an amazing, crazy, great design, it's like, oh my God, why would I ever say no to that? But it's rare. It's a rare thing where it blows me away. Tom Daubin wants to know, how am I getting on with the rev grips? I gave up on the rev grips. I got the little the end cap things that screw on to the IBIS handlebars, and it still doesn't really work well because you're still unscrewing. Like the left, if you go forward on the left one, it's tightening it, but if you go forward on the right one, it's loosening it. So you're always fighting like the screw to screw in, and it's hard to explain without showing you, but I'm not gonna Loctite the hell out of everything. Like, it's still gonna come loose at the worst moment. Like, it's horrible. Like, it's just the IBIS bar is just with the little thing. It's not good. I guess I could take out the things and then do the thing, but then the threads are still in there. Yeah, I just needed to get a different bar if I really want to try the rev grips, which the EWS 100's coming up next week. It is what it is. I should probably just get another set of Ergon GA2 fat grips because they did really well during the BC bike race. And now, the final question as my voice disintegrates into nothingness. Thanks, you guys, for sticking around. This is always amazing. I love the questions. I love getting the thought-provoking things. Chris Johnson, in your free/downtime, do you watch any UCI World Cup, XC, DH, Enduro World Series? Yeah, I try to watch the highlight. I really like the Enduro World Series highlights. They're always put together pretty well. But, man, nothing is able to cover Enduro World Series. But I think someday... And this gets into my like crackpot theories about virtual reality and all that stuff, but I think someday there will be really good coverage, and I think it's within reach now of drones and all that stuff to actually have legit coverage of Enduro World Series, but the money isn't there to do it. But it's the best mountain biking in the world for sure. World Cup, on the other hand, super fun, super cool. I don't watch it as much as I should. I don't know when it's happening and all that stuff. Paul, when I was staying with Paul, like, he's into it, so he knew, oh, this is on, and let's go this. And, like, God, the pain in the ass of, like, getting into the Red Bull app and not getting it spoiled if you're trying to watch, and it's like, everything's so weird. There was I think Bleacher Report had an app, because I watched, one of the latest wrestling companies that just started up is on Bleacher Report Live, and you can turn on spoiler mode in the app. So if you're like logged into the website or the app, it's like spoiler mode. So it just, nope, here's the title, here's what you do, you get in and you go. So such a cool idea. They need spoiler mode for everything. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out, for spending your time with me, and supporting this thing, and keep me alive and running and entertaining and having fun and a smile on my face, even though, this past 2 weeks probably the worst ever. But I still, I'm here because of you guys, and you give me a reason to keep going. I live kind of a lonely life. I do have my family for sure, but I'm here. I'm here, and you guys are a huge part of that. So thanks for listening. I'll see you on the trail.